Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video. We've built some more stuff on creative and I'm very excited for you guys to see it. I wanted to try some different types of terrain. I've been experimenting with terrain a little bit, but I had some more ideas that I really wanted to try out. And in this case was a glass waterfall. Now of course it is slightly inspired by B-Dubs because he was the first person I'd ever seen do the glass waterfall. So of course I had him in mind, so credits there. But I wanted to do it in a bit of a different way. And I also thank one of the friends who was also on this server on Build School for asking for tips on a glass waterfall, which kind of pushed me to finally make this video. Now this was an interesting challenge, but I do love the way it turned out, and I'm excited for you guys to see it as well. So without further ado, let's go straight into the time lapse and I'll tell you a little bit about what I've done afterwards. Let's go! So here is the final product. So we built this waterfall and it's kind of like in a cavey or rocky mountain area. And we've got some moss and boulders and things like that all around. Now thank you to Feather as well. One of the things you might not have seen in the time lapse was I've changed some of the rocks around here to kind of be indented a little bit more. And that was Feather's idea and it honestly does work a lot better. It just makes it look a little bit more rough in just a more natural way. But yeah, here is the final build. We've got the glass waterfall. Obviously it's all white because water moves quite fast and it kind of goes into a white color. But there are a few things I want to explain of how I've kind of accomplished this. So we've got basically just a bunch of glass panes. Now I had them moved in a way that kind of made sense of, you know, how water physics would kind of work. So I didn't want it to be just straight down. I wanted it to be encased by rocks kind of, so like the water has eroded some of the mountain here or the side of the hill, and we've got these boulders all at the side, and I wanted that to be there to kind of push the water. So as you can see, the water travels and it's slightly pushed there, and then it goes down, it's slightly pushed out again and again before it hits the ground here. And we've got it's like my first time kind of doing layered glass stuff, so we've got a whole bunch of just cyan glass and then white glass all the way down here, and it just gives more of a depth look. And I would have put normal water here, but the normal water was kind of too blue. It was not the color I wanted, so did some glass instead. And also that fits with the glass waterfall. Now you can see this other trick that I've done, which is a bunch of white candles, and that is to kind of have the water spray. And we've got them up here where the water would kind of hit the boulders and spray off. So we've got a whole bunch of those. Now, one of the reasons this glass waterfall works, or I think it works, is because we've got the darker rocks around the background. If you think about water and rocks in real life, if you wet a rock, especially a grey one, it will turn quite black and quite dark in colour. So we have to kind of consider that this waterfall is going down consistently and is always wetting these rocks. So they're going to be a lot smoother, a lot more wet, a lot more dark in colour because of that. And we've got some cobblestone here to kind of give some highlights, just to show that they'd be a bit shiny as well. It's kind of hard to do that in Minecraft, but I think I did my best and it works as well as it can do. So the cobblestone is quite lighter in contrast to the mud over there. We've got some moss at the top here and some of the boulders, and that's just to add a little bit more of a pop of colour, and also makes sense because, you know, there's water consistently coming down here, so it makes sense that things would be able to grow, but obviously not as much. So down here we've got a little bit less, and that's because the shadow from this will kind of block where any plant life or greenery would grow. Whereas compared to up at the top here, or any of these ones where there's a lot more moss because the sun is directly onto those. And of course all the moss around. Now I built the waterfall first because I wanted to experiment with that first. And I think I probably could have done better with the surrounding rocks. I couldn't find a dark block that I liked, so we've got the deep slate here for kind of the shadowing. And maybe it would have looked better if I did all the stone as deep slate, but I'm not too unhappy with how it looks. It could just be better. I wish there was just a slightly darker stone block. I know we've got tough, but it just wasn't the right color I was looking for. Just very slightly darker, maybe, I don't know, like a wool or something would have been cool, but I couldn't quite find a block that fit. Which is why I've done some tough just around to shadow and darken the whole area. Anyway, the glass waterfall itself, let's get back to that. We've got a whole bunch of stained glass panes. Now, I didn't use full glass blocks at all, and that's just because the panes layer a lot better than the glass blocks do. And it gives more of a rough idea or a rough vibe to the whole waterfall, whereas the glass block would be just a little bit too smooth. Now, behind some of these, we've also got some cyan, which I don't know if it's really necessary or not. You can kind of notice it in some places, and I put it there mainly as like a blue glow, so you could kind of tell that it was water in a waterfall instead of just like white mist. But again, I don't know if it's really necessary. I don't think it achieves that much. But you know, if it works for you, then go for your life. So in summary, the best way for this glass waterfall to work is to have darker contrasting blocks behind it to kind of make it pop, and also just make sense logically of how the water is wetting the rock and making it darker color. And again, we've got the boulders, they're kind of smoothed out on the edges, the waterfall is nestled in, so it shows a bit of erosion, which makes sense. You know, high speed water is going to smooth out the rocks, it's going to make a little indent in the wall. But overall, I do really love the way this looks. I'm happy with this build, and even happier that I got to try out some glass gradients. I'm definitely going to try out a little bit more because this looks really sick, and I love the color it's kind of made. It's a very light blue color, which works perfectly for this build. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like the build and the glass waterfall. I hope this kind of helped if you want to make something similar in your world. This was the first time I'd actually properly tried this. I've been doing some research as of late to get an idea of how to make this. And I think for my first try, it's not too bad. I definitely want to make some more. Try it a little bit more and refine these ideas to make a bit more sense. But yeah, I know we're a bit late with this upload, and I'm sorry about that. I have got quite a few builds that I'm working on at the moment, and I've just been enjoying building quite a lot, and I haven't finished any of my projects, unfortunately, which I'm very sorry about. So this was one of the projects that I finally finished, and I've got about 4 other ones which are unfinished. So, you know, once they're all done, you're gonna have a whole bunch of videos to binge watch. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video and the build and the time lapse and everything. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video, and I'll see you for the next build. See ya!